There is nothing more 40k than Rogue Traders. The first edition of the game was literally called Rogue Trader. It was the book that launched this dystopian universe that we all love. A grimdark future wherein mankind's fate is under constant threat from an array of warmongering alien races, mutants, demons, and of course, heresy. And Rogue Traders are very much at the forefront of the setting. With their ship, a crew and soldiers, they roam the space beyond the realm of the Imperium of Man. The concept of Rogue Trader was incredibly popular. Since the first edition, 40k fans have continued to multiply, like lots and lots of bunnies, all called Alfarius. There was even a popular Rogue Trader RPG, and now we have a Rogue Trader CRPG by Elcat Games. Today we're going to be taking a look at the amazing lore for Rogue Traders, so thanks to Elcat Games for sponsoring this video. I have had a lot of fun playing this game. It's the first classic computer role-playing game in the 40k universe, and the attention to detail is pretty impressive. Elcat Games are veterans in the genre, having made the Pathfinder games, but you can really tell that they've worked closely with Games Workshop to really capture that feel of Warhammer 40k. If you were going to be someone in the 40k universe, a Rogue Trader is pretty much who you'd want to be. You've got a huge amount of autonomy and freedom, and get to decide on your next course of action. Where are you headed? The choice is yours, a verdant agri world or an industrial forge world. You'll notice how the choices that you've made in the past have had real consequences. Make no mistake, the forces of chaos will try and corrupt you throughout the game, and you definitely shouldn't do that unless you of course want lots of cool stuff. Then there's a vivid range of companions for you to choose from. Choosing which companions accompany you is very important because different classes gain different abilities, and so when it comes to combat, you will really notice how certain team structures are very effective versus certain enemies. I have found the combat system a lot of fun. It's a fully fledged isometric turn-based tactical combat system. Because the layout and types of terrain changes each time, and because of the strengths and weaknesses of your units and your opponent's units, each encounter, each combat feels very unique, and I'm constantly kept on my incredibly stylish toes. One thing that I discovered very early on is that messing with the warp is as dangerous as you would imagine. For example, psykers can suffer from perils of the warp, and when this happens, a demon can be brought into reality, so all of a sudden, by your psyker's error, the tables can be turned against you. The Imperium of Man contains over 1 million human-settled planets, but that is by no means the whole galaxy. The Imperium is constantly at war from a myriad of chaos and Xenos threats, and things have gotten worse in the wake of the Great Rift opening. The Great Rift, or Cicatrix Maledictum, is a series of warp storms that have split the galaxy into two. Everywhere, madness and mutation run riot, and Imperial armies fight desperate battles for survival against nightmarish odds. In the midst of this turmoil, however, there is a great deal of plunder to be had. A rogue trader can wrest profits from a dangerous universe through luck, cunning, or sheer force of will. But the greatest gift that they have is true freedom, an absolute rarity for humans within the 42nd millennium. Most of the galaxy still remains unexplored, unknown, and extremely dangerous. On the fringes and in the halo zones, the only human settlers are renegades or pioneering groups whose ancestors were forgotten long ago. New worlds, alien civilizations, and more resources are there for the never-ending engine of war that is the Imperium. This has made rogue traders more necessary than ever. As a free-ranging Imperial agent licensed by the Adeptus Terra, feel free to explore the galaxy as you see fit. In recent 40k lore, rogue traders have even set out towards the Eye of Terror itself. In Rogue Trader, you will begin in the Coronus Expanse, a perilous and uncharted region at the edge of human-controlled space. The Coronus Expanse exists beyond the Calexus sector, which itself is a relatively young part of the Imperium. The Expanse can only be accessed through the Coronus Passage, the navigable route taking you perilously close to warp storms. This area was untouched even by the God Emperor's crusade many millennia ago, and therefore the vast natural wealth has barely been exploited, and multiple rogue traders vie for the riches. As a rogue trader, your word is often law. Isolated from the central authority of the Imperium, by your command are citizens often pardoned or condemned. And what kind of rogue trader will you be? Dogmatic, carrying his will to the ignorant and unruly masses, believing in the holiness and infallibility of the precepts of the God Emperor and his holy servants? Will you be an iconoclast with your belief in the value of human life and freedom, choosing not the path of uncompromising destruction, but where possible, seeking common ground and compromise? Or finally, will you be a heretic, devoted to the dark gods, allowing corruption to spread within you and your ship, until eventually your obsession and submission to the dark powers is complete? Whatever your allegiance, gather to you an entourage of hangers-on and companions. Will you trust in the Psykers serving with you? Will you open negotiations with the shadowy Inquisition, work with the Adeptus Sororitas or Space Marines, or potentially even allow Xenos into your ranks? Rogue traders are famous for being some of the best dressed within the Imperium, often wearing extravagant or flamboyant garb. But rogue traders don't just look sharp. They have access to some of the most effective weaponry in the Imperium, and undoubtedly will pick up more weapons and artifacts in their travels. Some are even rumoured to wield Xenos weapons. But for me, there is no greater combo than the Power Sword and Plasma Pistol. Rogue traders usually return to Imperial space every few years and are often known to make for Terra, arriving as heroes laden with artifacts, exotic wares, and rare precious minerals. Rogue traders have even been known to rediscover the lost technologies of humanity. Confidence, charisma, political skill, these are also weapons of the rogue trader. When you come into contact with servants of the Adeptus Terra or even members of the Inquisition, you will have to decide on the most prudent course of action. You could choose to ignore the authority of the Imperium, as many have before. As men and women who have wandered amongst alien stars and conversed with all manner of cultures, rogue traders are viewed as susceptible to all kinds of heresies, from wayward philosophies to infection by alien creatures, or possession by warp entities that live in the darkness between stars. All of these factors can lead to violent confrontation, especially if the rogue trader has knowledge or an artifact that others covet. You can wield your incredible power as you see fit, but do not act brazenly, for the will of the Inquisition and the Adeptus Terra is slow to turn, but it is forceful and unrelenting when unleashed. The authority of a rogue trader largely comes from his Warrant of Trade. Despite the general prohibition against dealings beyond the Imperium, the High Lords of Terra long ago recognized the value of expanding the borders of humanity's domains. The Warrant of Trade was issued to all rogue traders, granting them not only the permission to go beyond the Imperium's borders, but to deal with who or whatever might be out there, with the full authority of the High Lords. Whatever cultures you find in the Void, even if they be Xenos, you can decide to even trade with them or take up a common cause against a mutual foe if necessary. These decisions would be tantamount to a death sentence for most within the Imperium. The warrant also elevates the recipient to the highest ranks, granting you equivalent status with such men and women as Imperial Commanders, Inquisitors, or even Space Marine Chapter Masters. You are granted the power to deal with such peers of the Imperium as equals, and the warrant allows you to call upon whatever aid that you can negotiate. Finally, the Warrant of Trade allows the recipient to claim by conquest whatever worlds and privileges you may obtain, in whatever manner you wish to do so. Many rogue traders have used the Warrant to conquer or colonize newly discovered planets, taking up the role of Imperial Commander and thus pushing outwards the Imperium's borders. Others use the Warrant to gain exclusive rights with newly discovered cultures, earning for themselves unimaginable riches and establishing the foundation of powerful noble lines. In the game, for example, you will be a descendant of a storied line of bold privateers. They have managed their own merchant empire and explored the outskirts of Imperial space with the Emperor's endorsement. But you only recently found out about your lineage, and it took a lot for your distant relative Lord Captain Theodora to prove your blood tie. However, now it is proved, and you are one of the heirs to her incredible power. Because this is only a recent discovery, you will also have an extended backstory away from the Empire. However, this is actually relatively common for rogue traders, so that the sons and daughters of the oldest of rogue trader lines do not fall victim to a life of idle luxury and thus weaken the bloodline. Many such scions are ordered by their sires to do their time, undertaking a career in one of the Imperium's great institutions until such a time that they are judged worthy of returning, or duty calls them back. Many serve in the Imperial Navy, a career that affords them many of the skills that they will one day need to command a rogue trader fleet. Others spend time in the General Staff of the Imperial Guard, or in divisions such as the Administratum. Such individuals are often reviled by their peers, who view them as merely treading water until their privileged birthright recalls them. But many do indeed learn vital skills that will one day serve them well. There are a bunch of options in the game for you to choose from, allowing you to create a backstory that really suits your character. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, thanks to Owlcat Games for sponsoring this video. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader is available on PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S/X. Let me know what you think of the game, and I'll see you next time.